I'm Kathryn Sikkink. I'm the Ryan Family Professor of Human Rights Policy at the Harvard Kennedy School. At the Kennedy School, I'm associated with the Carr Center for Human Rights Policy. I'm a political scientist. I do international relations theory. I'm not a lawyer. So when I tell my political science colleagues, they're very skeptical. They're not at all convinced that international law could possibly affect this core state decision about whether or not to go to war. I decided to design my research to try to provide a test that would be persuasive to people who aren't already convinced of the power of law. It wasn't an easy project to design at all. So I had to first find a way to measure international law, to measure the degree of legalization of the prohibition on the illegal use of force. I had to find a way to create a database of legal and illegal wars. And then, of course, we needed to do a quantitative analysis to see if there's any relationship between the degree of legalization of the prohibition on illegal use of force and the actual use of force. During the 20th century, there are actually many treaties that have attempted to limit aggression. It starts really in the early 20th century, at first with one part of the Hague Convention that says that if you're going to carry out a war, you have to declare it first. So that's the first way of limiting war. More recently, and this is one of Ben Ferentz's really important contributions, of course, the International Criminal Court was created with jurisdiction over the crime of aggression. But it wasn't until new amendments were added in, with Kampala amendments, that we actually had a definition of aggression that will permit the court, starting in 2017, to be able to have jurisdiction over that crime. In any case, we used those treaties that I just described. We assigned a legalization score. We created measures of how many countries had ratified those treaties and had accepted the obligation not to engage in illegal use of force. We created our database of legal and illegal wars. It's not as complicated as actually you would think, since the UN Charter is quite clear about what is an illegal use of force, right? Really, the only use of force that's permitted is in self-defense. A country can act in self or collective self-defense, or when the UN Security Council authorizes the use of force. So when we did that, then we did our analysis, and we also controlled for many other factors that we political scientists know can contribute to the decision to go to war. How democratic a country is, how much trade dependence there is between countries. In this early research, we did find that countries that have accepted more legal obligations not to engage in illegal war are less likely to be aggressors. They're less likely to attack other countries. So we think this is some preliminary evidence that international law can make a difference for leading to a decline in aggression in the world.